Okay, you're all set.
Okay, thank you. Okay, seems we have all of our committee members here. Let's see the agenda. The agenda. All right, call the meeting to order. Looks like it's 6:01. And we're going to hold off on the first one, was discussion of historical input to the CPC. Hopefully Carlton will show up in a few minutes with maybe some information. I asked him to kind of go over some of the proposals and ideas that have come to the the CPC of a historic nature. I did get I swapped a couple emails with just to bring some of you guys up to speed on the Alden House on High Street. Back probably, I guess, probably been 2 years now. The Johnson family that owns it. This is the Colonial Salt Box that's right next to Bobby Gabriel's house. They wanted to approach the town about the town, working with the town and doing something, maybe getting some relief from taxes, setting up a trust with the land across the street, because right now they're paying taxes on about 15 acres of land, and they'd like to see it part of our park system. Well, everything was going pretty good. We had a meeting with the owner, Betty Johnson, and a number of her children, but unfortunately about 3 months later, she took a turn for the worse and she passed away. So for the last 24 months, her children have been dealing with the estate. She had, I think she had 8 kids, and you know how it can be when 8 kids in an inheritance. You got a lot of differing opinions. They all love the property, they love the house and everything, but I'm sure there's been a lot of controversy. Anyways, I heard from one of the former owners. He was this Mrs. Johnson that owned it. She died in 1998. She had 4 children, and they sold their shares and gave them to 2 of the children wanted to cash out. And so it ended up with 2 of the kids owning it, Betty Johnson and Tom Johnson. And then eventually he sold his share to Betty. So she ended up with the whole thing. And she was the one that we were dealing with. Well, anyways, we hadn't heard from Tom for 2 or 3 years. And then he sent me an email asking me what's going on. And I said, you tell me, you're a part of the family. So it's possible that they may be resurrecting the proposal to do that. And what it will do, it'll give a really nice corridor with Stiles and Hart Park from High Street all the way down to I think it's Acorn Way on both sides of the river. So and it comes, the land comes from a colonial grant to John Alden of Pilgrim fame. He never lived in Bridgewater. He passed the land down to his son, and his son, I don't think it's ever been proven that his son built on it, but maybe his grandson may have built the house that sits on High Street right now. So, and we're not even sure if that's the original location. It may have been built across the street and moved over, but the original 40-acre grant survived up until about probably 1995, when members of the Johnson families sold a number of, probably about half of it, some lots to Bob Gabriel out front, and they sold some lots to Gabriel out back, and then some to Rita Latola. Because they own behind the house right up to the Elmwood Cemetery, including some of the land in Elmwood, in East Bridgewater. So anyways, something might be happening on that again. And we did appear before the Community Preservation Committee and discuss it with them for possible funding of the acquisition of some of that land for a town park to make the to add to the Styles and Hat. I also received a letter from number 4 on the agenda. No, it's not it. This will be under new business. I got a letter from Matt Zala. He is one of the proponents in the McElwain School project. And there are a number of grants that have come through the state for that project and tax credits. And he's asked for a letter for this year from the Historical Commission, identical to the letters we've written for the last 2 years, just asking for the support of the State Historical Commission. So I can send that out to anybody who wants to see it, but it's something we've been signing before, so I don't see a big deal in sending out another letter on that. Well, we've got a full board, so let's put it to Jeff. Jeff, you still willing to take the seat on the Community Preservation Committee?
Yes, if there's no other volunteers, I'll do it.
I think you'll find it interesting. That's good to hear.
David,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt. I do just want to let you know, I checked into it, and Jeff is an alternate member at the moment. So we would just need to make him a full member of the committee in order for him to represent the committee at the CPC.
Okay, can the commission appoint him as a full member?
It has to be through the town manager. I've already communicated with him, and he's on board with it. I just wanted to let you guys know for your discussion tonight, but we will just have to make him a full member before we can get him appointed.
Okay, then I'd like to make a motion for the commission to appoint Jeff as a full member, regular member of the Bridgewater Historical Commission. We have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Matt. Any further discussion? Hearing none, put it to a vote. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Sherry, take yourself off of mute so we can hear you vote. Earth to Sherry. There she goes.
Aye,
Okay, great. Are you voting in favor of Jeff as a full-time member?
I sure am.
Okay, great.
Okay, Jeff, we'll get you your letter from the town manager's office. So you'll just need to get sworn in for the CPC. We'll get all that together for you. I'll reach out to you if you have any questions in the meantime, but that should be coming to you either tomorrow or Thursday.
Okay, great.
Okay, and while we're in the
Patience.
mood of appointing, I would like to make a motion to appoint Dave Nalt as an associate member. And then if he comes to a few more meetings, maybe we can talk him into becoming a full-time member.
David, sorry
Yes.
to interrupt on that. Has David Nalt submitted an application through the Citizen Advisory Committee?
No, he hasn't.
Okay, so with that, he'll just need to, and I can reach out to you, David.
Sure.
Let you know the process, but we can get you an interview with the Citizens Advisory Commission, and then get you an interview with the town manager, and get you appointed as an associate member.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Sure.
Could everybody kind of like identify themselves and just tell me a short thing of why you're on the meet, or why you're on this committee, and how long you've been in Bridgewater? Would that be asking too much?
No, you have a right to know who you're going to be sitting with.
Yeah.
You want to do it, Sherry? You've been on the longest after me.
I will. I'll start. Hi, my name is Sherry Anderson. I've been in Bridgewater for about 34 years. I have a history degree, but never used it professionally. So when I was going to retire, I thought this would be a wonderful spot for me to exercise some of my education. And I've been on it ever since, what, 8 years, David? 9 years?
Wow.
Maybe
You've been
even
on-
longer, probably 12.
Yeah, I think you've been on longer than that. Did you come to any of the meetings when my dad was still around?
No, your
Oh,
mom
okay.
did, but not
Okay,
your
all right.
father.
all right,
Nice.
okay. Matt,
Yeah, I'm Matt Casey. I've been on the committee for about a year, a little over a year. Lived in Bridgewater for about trying to think, when did I move here? 2013, 2014, I think. If I remember correctly. But yeah, I've always been interested in history, so jumped on board, and here I am.
okay,
Sounds
Jeff,
good.
you're the new guy on the block.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jeff Merriman. I moved to Bridgewater in 2019 from Maryland. And I've always had a penchant for history, and I wanted to get involved doing something. I saw that there was a opportunity to volunteer here, and I get to follow the history passion and show my son community service. So that's why I joined. About in January, I joined.
Sounds good.
Okay. And most of you know me, and I've been around since they invented dirt. I think I first got involved with the Historical Commission probably about 1972 or 73, when they were working on the history highlights of Bridgewater. And my dad was a member then, and a bunch of other really neat older folks, and been hanging around ever since.
Yeah.
So,
And I'll tell you guys a little bit about me. I've lived in Bridgewater all my life. I was involved a lot. We used to do with Ken Moore, Dave's father, we used to do a little history segment on the cable news. And that's when I got into a lot of history about Bridgewater and really enjoyed it. And then I did start going to the committee meetings for a little bit. Actually, I used to bring my son, who was very into it. But you know, I'm retired now and got a little bit of time on my hands. So I figured, you know, after that meeting last week, hey, why not? I used to like this stuff. Let's see if I still like it.
okay, well, I'm glad you stepped forward again, Dave.
Yeah,
Good to see you again.
yeah.
I've talked to Jeff about those little tapes that my dad used to do, and I guess they're on beta,
Oh,
the
yeah,
old ancient format.
Yeah,
And,
right.
he has talked about getting them into a more usable format that they could access online
yeah.
or in the library and everything, but I don't know how his staff is down there,
Yeah.
so.
I'll tell you something funny about those. When your dad used to come in, I think the segments were only like 5 minutes long, maybe a little bit longer. But your dad would talk for like an hour, and I had to, you know, edit it down and I would let him go because it was so interesting, you know. But it was funny. I used to have to try to cut him off, and then I'd have to edit down so it would still sound good, but not be as long, you know.
Yeah,
That would be nice if those could be gotten again.
he was always very pleased with that. He really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
And,
I did too.
yeah, that's good. I've got a bunch of things I've been doing. I've been in the classes that I've been teaching on Bridgewater history, and I've got probably, I don't know, I haven't counted them lately, but probably 30 PowerPoint presentations
Oh, yeah,
on Bridgewater that I would love to put online
yeah.
through YouTube. And I've talked to Jeff about it down at the studio, and he's just said, well, sure, come on down, but you know how it is when you're retired, you just get busy.
You're busier than when you're working. I don't understand it.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, so that's the 5 of us on the committee right now. There
Yeah.
was a time when the committee was cut down to three, probably 3 or 4 years ago when Bill Wood rewrote the admin code. And I had to go before the town council and ask that we be put back onto five.
Yeah,
They did that. So there'll be four of us on now, and there's still an opening. So if you ever want to upgrade,
yeah.
just speak up and we'll see what we can do.
Sounds good, though.
Okay. All right, so we got the appointment to the Historical Commission. Discussion of the historical input to the CPC. I kind of disappointed that Calvin couldn't make it, but he's usually pretty regular. Something must have come up on this. Okay, there was a letter that Matt had put together requesting a change of the commission from in the admin code concerning the historical commission status. We sent that out to everybody last time. Any thoughts or ideas on that? I thought it was pretty good. I'd like to pretty much take it, change the heading on it and take it to the council and see what they think.
Yeah, I think I will make that change to address it to the town council, and we'll just get signatures for everybody at some point in the next week or two.
Yeah.
And we'll present it.
Yeah, and see where it goes. If we have to tweak the proposal, we'll open it up to discussion, see if we can go with it.
What would be the objection for town council to deny it?
I don't see that the town council as a whole, I'd be concerned about Bill Wood has been pretty much the author of the admin code. And I'd watch his reaction to it to see what he thinks of it. Have you talked to him about it, Matt?
I haven't. I know who he is, but I haven't actually addressed it with him. But yeah. But I know he was the admin. He was the guy that used to write all the, and probably still does all the codes, from what I've heard.
What are the codes based on? Just what he wants,
Sounds good.
Well,
doesn't it?
yes
I
and
actually
no.
don't even know. Like,
No.
I had to go in, like, when I was writing the letter, because I got assigned to it, like Steve assigned it. And I took it on, and it was literally my first meeting. And he's like, "You're gonna be in charge of this change of code thing." And I was like, "Okay." I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm Googling stuff about admin codes. But yeah. But yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm sure David knows more about it than I do. He's been around a lot longer, and but does anybody know?
Well,
I sure don't.
the admin code was an effort by the council to take our town bylaws, zoning bylaws, and all of the rules and regulations that we had in town and incorporating it into the admin code, the implementation of those bylaws. That's what it was. And the admin code just kind of said how they were going to do it. When you're talking about the historical commission, that was set up originally through an act of the legislature back in the 1950s, I believe. And so that's all done through statute. So it just depends on how much of the statute the town wants to incorporate or give us power with. And I'm going to kind of go out on a limb a little bit and say that from what I've seen since the town council form of government came in, the town manager has slowly been assuming in one way or another more and more of the authority of the different committees and so forth in town. So I think that the thing that we're going to be up against is, and the town council seems to be going along with this. Maybe it's their desire to relinquish more authority to the town manager. I don't know, but I think that's the only objection we're going to get to it, is that it's going to, right now, like, take for example, like I went to the director of community planning and development, Jennifer, a couple of years ago when we were doing the budget. And I said, we'd like to be back in the budget with $5,000. And she arranged a meeting with her and the town manager and myself, and I think Kim Williams was there. And they said, well, what do you want the money for? I said, well, every once in a while something comes up that really needs preservation, and we could use a few dollars to preserve it, whether it be a manuscript, a book, or an item of Bridgewater history, and a map or whatever, and we would like to acquire it for it to be placed over in the historical room at the library. And they said, well, when something like that comes up, let us know. We'll find some money. The only thing we've asked for since that time is we asked for money to fund the storage locker down at the shoe factory. And they did that with no question at all. I went over there. There was a problem with payment a couple of weeks ago, and they called me. The storage people called me, and I went over to the town hall, and they said, well, we're working on a place to put all that stuff. And I said, that's great, because give us a 6 foot by 6 foot cube somewhere, and everything that we've got in there, we could throw away some stuff, but we could put all that stuff in there, in that space, until we have a better place to display it. And they say they're working on it. So it's not like they've totally shut us out. I would love to see some more money dedicated towards the preservation of the Ironworks building. But really, that's going to take somebody taking that project by the horns and running with it. I mean, I did it once, Harry Bailey did it once, and for different reasons, the project died. So I've approached a couple of the councilors recently. I don't know if you remember, Carlton mentioned that not funding, the proper word. The CPC gave them Kelwayne School project a little over $1.2 million under historic preservation and housing, under those two categories. The proponents of the project took $650,000 thereabouts of that money, and then in return they paid the town. They purchased the McElwain School building, so that money came back to the town. Now, there was some discussion with the CPC. Okay, the money came from the CPC, and now it's coming back. Why can't that money go back into the CPC to use for other CPC projects? And they were told that it couldn't, it had to go back into the general fund. Well, when it goes into the general fund, it can be used for anything in town, balancing the budget, whatever, hiring new personnel or whatever. But I've written a letter recently to a number of the councilors asking that when capital assets such as a McElwain School is sold, that $650,000, in my opinion, should go back into capital assets at the very least. If you're not going to give it back to CPC, okay, so be it. But we've presently we've got three major town buildings, the Academy Building, the Memorial Building, which is under restoration, the old library, and the current library. And they're all seriously lacking on parking. My opinion, I think they ought to take that $650,000 and use it to purchase either at least one of the houses on Library Place, the little antique cape right behind the Memorial Building. Possibly there has been some talk about the town buying the building on Bedford Street, right behind the Academy Building. And when that developer, the guy who owns it, is the developer that was going to do the big project where Friendly's and the bowling alley. And that project has kind of fallen through right now, and the property's back up for sale. But that lot would make an excellent addition to town parking. So I think it'd be better to spend the money there than put it back into the general fund. But no, that's not for me to decide. I've sent letters to a number of counselors, and I haven't heard a word. So, but that's something that maybe the Historical Commission might want to push a little bit more. Let's see, what was the question though? We started out on this question. Oh, the letter for the change in classification. I think if we were given administerial duties, we could have a better argument and push them for this, but it's possible that they're happy with the way things are right now, with us just being on the sidelines. So at least if we make the proposal to the council, we'll get a better idea on where they stand on it.
Exactly.
Dave, do other committees in the town have a budget, or were they stripped of it also?
I really don't know, but there's two committees in town that are just about non-existent now. And one is the Water and Sewer Commissioners. They used to have a regular board with a budget, and they ran the water and sewer processing in town. They don't exist anymore. I think they exist on paper, but I know they were down to 2 members, and one member quit because he felt as though the town wasn't listening to anything they had to say. And so he was very, very frustrated, and he left. And the Board of Health, I think, is the committee, the Board of Health. You have a health agent, you have an office, you have rules and regulations that they enforce and so forth under state guidelines. But I think the Board of Health used to be a very powerful board in town. They set up the transfer station, they oversaw the landfills in town, McDonald's and Chuckrin's and so forth. And there was 3 members, and it was a hotly contested positions on that board for a number of years. I don't know where they are. I know John Shallon was on it for a while. He had come back on. I don't know where the Board of Health is. I don't know how much authority they have right now. I kind of think that everything's under the hands of the town manager. So they appear to be heading in that direction. You know, when town council comes out at a meeting and says that the council cannot tell the manager what to do, they can suggest, they can possibly advise or set goals and so forth, but they can't directly order him to take a particular action. So this would be kind of going against the grain, giving us a little more authority when everything seems to be going in the other direction. So they have supported us. It'll be interesting when the library is done downstairs. I think, Matt, you were part of some of the discussions with Steve on what library director's name? Jed.
Jed,
Yeah, what Jed wants to do down there. He wants to make at the base of the stairs, there's an open area, and he wants to put in some display cases and have a rotating display down there of historical artifacts, and it'll be the Bridgewater history corner, you could say. So people could go down there and just browse around and look at things and learn more about Bridgewater history. So that's Jed's feeling right now when that area is done. And I don't know how close they are to getting that area up and running. I know they gutted the whole basement, so there was a lot of work they did down there because they had a lot of trouble with moisture and mold and everything. But they've done a lot of work. So. So that's where I stand on that letter. I think we ought to run with it.
All right. So I think everybody should just sign it. I'll try to make arrangements with people. Anybody can just email me, let me know availability, and we can meet up somewhere, or you can come to me, I can come to you, and we can just get it signed and presented. So
Okay,
Possibly we get together down the library some night and
Yeah.
maybe meet with Jed and see what the progress is on that area. And at the same time, we could sign a
I'd
letter.
like to see that and see where they are on it, and listen to their input and see what they have in store for it, like you said.
Yep.
And we can get some stuff taken care of. But yeah, I know it's tough to get people together on certain days, and so. But yeah, if anybody, we'll try to make a date that we can get together, and if anybody can't make it, we can.
David?
Yes.
Sorry to keep interrupting. I do just want to just advise that you guys that you're careful with meeting with all the members of the committee without posting, because if there's a quorum of members present and you're discussing historical commission details, or like the letter or anything, it can be considered a breach of open meeting law. If it's something that you guys want to get together and post, let me know, and I can definitely get it posted for you. Just we need to hit that 48-hour time frame and make sure that you guys aren't meeting with a quorum present.
Sure. We could do that.
Okay. Yeah, and it could just be as simple as an agenda as, get together, confirm the letter that Matt wants to send, and sign. And that's all it has to be. We just need to make sure it's posted 48 hours at a time.
Okay.
Okay.
And Matt, once you get the letter set up in the right format, send it out to everybody so they can take a look at it, so we'll all be familiar with it before we get together.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
On the library website of a historic nature, I don't know if anybody's seen it, but the archivist that's been hired has had a number of Mrs. Little's films put on the website. So you can go on there and you can see there's a parade. I would guess it's probably in the 1920s, and it's a really neat movie. So you can take a look at that. You can bring it up. And there's a lot of pictures of Mrs. Little in her garden and playing with her cats and everything. And it is what it is. But there are some really neat segments on taking around town. So not too long, but it's interesting. You can try to place where the shots were taken. There's one where they looks like maybe a Model T Ford, a real early automobile running down the side of the railroad tracks and then getting out on the street and crossing the tracks. And I can't place that crossing. I don't know exactly where it is, but take a look at it sometime if you get a chance. It's on the library website, and she's been putting a lot of things up there. We also, Steve had done a lot of work in setting up the Historical Commission Facebook page. And I asked him at one time if he could give us the keys to that so we could add to that website. So we're gonna probably go out and advertise. If there's somebody with some Facebook experience that would like to work with the commission, either an associate member or a regular member, to help us keep that Facebook page up and fresh. So I don't have a lot of experience with Facebook. I want to look at my grandkids every once in a while. But as far as posting things on it, that's a skill set I don't have. And I really don't, at this stage in life, I really don't want to do another one. I'm happy with what I don't know right now. But it's something that we should definitely keep in mind, because a lot of people have commented on the Facebook page. There's a lot of neat stuff on it. So
Yeah.
it's something we got to keep going.
I mean, that was the shame about losing Steve, is that Facebook page. I mean, besides Steve's knowledge in general, but that Facebook page was a wonderful asset, and but I mean, I'm wondering if, I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, if Steve would, I don't know, have you talked to him at all?
Yeah, not in a lot of detail as to why he dropped out. I mean, he just got himself
him. I know he was
overcommitted.
I know he was frequently, crazy with work and stuff, and but I mean, do you know if he's expressed interest in continuing the Facebook page?
That particular I haven't asked him that specifically.
Because I mean, if he's interested, and all it takes is, hey, I just have to post something once every, week or something, or once every few days. That's, and he's already got that all set up, and
Yeah.
I'm wondering if just,
Okay. I'll reach out to him.
yeah, I mean, that's just my thoughts. I mean, instead of having somebody else take control of it, if he's already doing it, I mean, so, but
Sure. I'll reach out to him, see what he says. I did get a call as a historical commission member this week from a guy who works for A&A Transportation down on Bedford Street, Tommy Riggy's place, with all the buses and taxis and everything. And he called me up and he says, they're clearing land across the street, and I see a chimney sticking up out of the field. I said, no, okay, I'll go down and take a look. And what it turned out was not exactly sure the extent of that warehouse they're putting in down there. I think in talking to the building inspector, he said it was somewhere in the order of 200,000 or 300,000 square feet. So quite a large one going in. So if you haven't been down Bedford Street, they've just about cleared all of the trees in between the wet basement people and the road that goes out back to Dubois and the yoga place. That whole wooded section is cleared now, and all those trees are gone. And so I went down there and I walked out on the site, and kind of in the middle of the site, there was a chimney and there was a foundation, a small one. But in looking at it, in my opinion, because it was a poured concrete foundation,
Not that old.
they used board forms, very well done, because it wasn't cracked or anything. It looked like the house may have burned because there was no wood in the cellar hole. Like a couple boards, but that was it. And the chimney was still in beautiful shape, but the chimney had a liner in it. So I'd put that, late 1930s, early 1940s. It had anchor bolts in the foundation, and that's something that wasn't done a long time ago. So,
do we
I went-
know?
pardon?
Do we know what was there?
No, I was, I've got a number of maps, but I was gonna check my, I've got a topo map that's dated 1929. And I was gonna take a look on that and see if it shows a building on
Yeah.
that site. It would just be a little square.
Yeah.
I don't know a more current topo map in the 40s. But anyways, I was gonna see if there was something there. It looks like it might have been a small house.
Yeah.
And there's, I've been down that road out to Dubois Place many times as building inspector, and I never remember any roads going off to the left into approximately where that house was. So I think it had been abandoned. And anybody who would know, I can't think of anybody
Right.
who's around today that would remember 75, 80 years ago what
Mm.
might have been there,
Yeah.
lived in the area.
Can we take metal detectors there?
Probably not. Well, when I rode by there today, it looked to me like they had leveled the foundation. Chimney was knocked down and the cellar hole was probably filled in. So,
Hmm.
and I don't think they would, I don't think they'd be too crazy about historical commission poking around. I mean, there wasn't any building there, so it didn't fall under the demolition delay bylaw.
Hmm.
It was just a foundation, but we do some work and poke around, see what we can find, not down on the site, but looking at old maps and so forth and
Yeah.
see what might have been there.
There should have been something on a map, or there'd be land records, or tax records, or something for that parcel.
Yeah, I got to give Bob Wood a call, see if he's ever done any deed research down there. He loves that stuff.
Hmm.
So, but keep in mind that Bedford Street wasn't a major road in town until about 1935. So it was laid out in the late 1700s, but it was never used. It was when they first laid out the highway system in Bridgewater, through Bridgewater, Route 28 was down Summer Street. And I think 18 was down South Street, because I've talked to people who said that Bedford Street was impassable in the spring and the fall because of the muck. Just the road it was just a dirt road. And you couldn't go down there.
Interesting.
So,
Hey, Dave,
yeah,
where was the fruit stand on 18? That was in that area, right?
yeah, it was right there where the
What's-
yoga place is.
Yeah, because is that where about that foundation you're talking about? Would that be in back of that somewhere?
No, the road to the left of the fruit stand
Yeah,
went out back to Holmes. Holmesy owned all that property.
yeah, but there was a
Yeah.
house there too, right?
Yes, there's
Yeah,
still a house in there.
yeah,
I think there were 3 houses in there
yeah,
before Dubois bought it.
yeah,
And there was a garage. A guy used to repair cars on the last building on the left-hand side. There was a guy
Right.
repairing cars there. Silver, Joe Silver, I think.
Yeah.
But I never remember any roadways or driveways or anything going in
yeah,
where this house was.
yeah. No, I was just thinking of that because I remember I went to school with somebody that lived in that house or one of the houses there. I don't remember, back in the fruit stand.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking maybe if that might have been it. Because,
Yeah.
the way you describe the foundation and everything, it's not, super old, but old
Mm.
enough, I guess. So,
Well, if you locate any of those people, I mean, is that kid still around, Dave?
I can't even remember his name.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well.
I barely remember my grandkids' names, never mind somebody 40 years ago, 50 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you can remember.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the people that were the last family that was living down there, it was an older couple at the time, and I'm talking early 1990s. They were feuding with Holmesy all the time because that was all low land,
Yeah.
very low in the way back there. And he got a deal with the demolition contractor that was tearing down some of the housing at Columbia Point in Boston. So a good portion of Columbia Point
Is in
filled
there,
in that land.
yeah.
And they were always griping because the people would come down with the big trucks in the middle of the night, everything, but I could never catch them. And finally, Holmes, he gave up on the project and leveled it off. And then they were holding flea markets in there for a while.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah. And that wasn't too successful. It was a big piece of
Yeah.
land.
Yeah,
And then Red Dew Board ended up buying it with Holmes's demise.
yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me if that older couple sold out to Red Dew Board.
Sure.
He owned the whole thing. If you're gonna run a business with houses around, it's always good to own your neighbors.
Yeah.
So. Okay, you gotta wait. All right, so any other business to come before us? We're gonna get together and look over Matt's letter. And keep your eyes and ears open for any new old history stuff. Sometime in October, I'll give you the date later on. I was asked to do a presentation on West Bridgewater history, early West Bridgewater history. And I just, Mary O'Connell, who used to be the reference librarian, is now the head of the OBHS. And she called me up and asked me, and without thinking too much about it, sure. All the stuff I know about Bridgewater, must be a lot of stuff on West Bridgewater, no problem. No, West Bridgewater is a sleepy little town. I saw that when I was working up there as building inspector, and not a lot has happened up there. A lot of famous people have gotten their start in West Bridgewater, and a lot of businesses have gotten their start in West Bridgewater, like the Ames family with the Ames shovels and the Union Pacific Railway and everything. And there's a big foundry in Boston around the turn of the century that started. The owners started in West Bridgewater. Copeland Shoe, which started in West Bridgewater and then moved to Brockton. You had the Howard Seminary. So a lot of stuff started there, but it ran for a short time, and it's just a really neat little quiet town now. So I don't know what I'm going to say. I haven't figured it out yet.
You know what I do have, not to kind of change the subject, but I just finally remembered his name. I remember Filoni
Yep.
across from the, I can't remember his first name.
Funeral home.
Yeah.
4 or 5
Well,
boys.
Yeah, he gave me a whole bunch he used to go to at Legion Fields or whatever they call it now. There always used to be the big during the summer activity things
Yeah.
way back. Oh,
Yeah.
he had his 16mm camera all the time, and he used to take pictures of that, films.
Yeah.
And I have quite a few of those reels. We actually changed a few just by putting them on the wall and taking the camera down at the studio and changed it. I had a few on some of the shows that I did.
Oh.
I should dig those out and see if we can do something with them, because
Now, you're talking films of athletic activities or the carnivals they had down there?
well, not the
or-
carnivals. But they used to have, remember the big fire pit? They used to have the big chimney and everything down on the far side, the backside near the Betts Club side. You remember that?
The big bonfires they used to have down there.
Yeah, well, they used to have that. If I remember right, I mean, they had there's some of like Carriage Day where all the little kids, the little girls had their carriages all decked
Yeah.
out, and then it was
Yeah.
bicycle things. And actually, there was a father and son, and this one is probably really a value, and it's got Rocky Marciano, or whatever his name was, the fighter from Brockton.
Yeah, Rocky Marciano.
Yeah, he's in there playing baseball with everybody over there at the Legion Field. I'll have to dig those out. I think I know where they are, but I even
Yeah.
recently got a 16mm projector too, so
Yeah.
we can go through those and try to transfer them. So
Well, if they're really neat, say they probably are, the
Yeah.
archivist down the library would love to get those on file down there.
Yeah, well, that's, I mean, I'm cleaning out a lot of stuff, and I mean, I donated those, geez, I can't remember. I think there was, even in the 1800s, the town annual, that the big pile of that I donated.
Yeah,
But I was thinking on digging these out and bringing them down there too, so when I get them out, I'll figure it out.
yeah, those could be really neat.
Yeah,
I know just right around the time Larry Filoni retired,
yeah,
he was athletic director up at the high school.
yeah,
He said, David, what am I gonna do with all these films? I said, what do
Yeah.
you mean films? So he brought me into a room down at the high school,
yeah,
and there must have been 100, 200.
oh, yeah, I'm
rolls of
sure,
film.
like I said,
Cans,
gave me
6-inch,
a
8-inch
handful.
cans.
yeah,
And then he said, this is only part of the collection. I got the rest of them over at my house in the
Yeah.
basement. And most of them were, they take movies of the football games.
right,
They
yeah, a
could
lot of them.
study the
Yeah.
how the team did and so forth. But I'm sure there must have been some good stuff in there. And the last I saw, when I retired from the high school in 1990, those films were still in a closet up there. So I have no idea what ever came of them.
Yeah, like I said, I can't even remember how many I had. Wasn't a lot, maybe 5 or 6. But
Yeah,
I remember watching them all and they were like, wow, I remember that. I remember that. Because that used to happen during the summer,
yep,
the big,
Yeah.
something to do because they played games and everything.
yeah.
So it
Well,
might be of interest.
Try to dig them out, get them
I
down to the
will.
library and get them on the library website.
Yeah, that would be good. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Mentioning it and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, anything else? Any other new old stuff?
I don't know if now's the time, but I should give everybody my email.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, all right. It's everybody got a crayon and pencil?
I've got it, Dave. I can send it out there.
Okay, why don't you do
Oh,
that?
good. Okay.
That will make it easier. Yeah,
Yeah. I'll do that and I'll get it up to Josh also.
yeah. And then we'll figure out how to do what he was talking about, to get me on as an associate anyways to start.
Yeah.
All right. You sucked me right in.
I couldn't have done it if you didn't have an interest, Dave.
My wife's in the background going like this.
Well, thank you for stepping forward.
No problem. I've always enjoyed the history part of it.
Yeah.
You
Okay. So if there's not anything else, someone wants to speak up. Well, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I'll
Okay,
second it.
seconded. Now, it's not debatable, but next official meeting will be the third Tuesday at 6 o'clock in the month of September. That'll be our next one, but it'll be posted on the town website and all. And if we come up with a special meeting with Matt's letter, everybody will be notified. Okay,
All right.
so all in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
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 Okay. Well, thanks for coming out tonight.
everybody.
All
Good
right.
night.
Talk
Good
to you
night,
later.
everyone.
Good night.